All right, so good morning again, everyone, and welcome to our February PTO meeting. We have I think, a really great agenda today. We have some updates from our PTO. We have a few adults presenting about some important topics around Seal of Biliteracy and Night in Hand. And then we have some exciting club presentations where we have club advisors as well as students here to participate. And it should be a really informative meeting. Just as a reminder, record is on, and I'll send a link to this meeting out with my Friday message. So anyone who missed any information or missed the meeting completely can review the information that we shared today. I'd like to again thank everyone just for their time. You know, the staff and faculty as well as students, especially taking some time to present today is excellent. So at this point, Kyler, I'm going to turn it over to you for some PTO updates.
Good morning, everybody. My updates this morning are more to do with the school referendum that's coming up on the Tuesday, the 15th of February, which is 2 weeks from today. I just wanted to make sure everybody had information about it. I was looking myself and wanted to direct people to the Madison Public School District website. On there, there's a link to their renewal plan, and there's some very useful information in there if you feel like you haven't fully understood what's being proposed in 2 weeks' time. There's the presentation that I think Dr. Cook shared with us at a previous PTO meeting, but if you were unable to see that, that's available, as well as a tour of the facilities, a virtual tour of Madison Public School facilities, and the traffic study that they just had completed. I believe that's actually was just posted on the 20th of January, so that's very new. But, you know, coming up into the next 2 weeks, if you have a chance to check out these resources and make sure you're educated prior to the vote in 2 weeks, that would be fabulous. I know for many of us at the high school, we feel that it doesn't pertain to us anymore because the schools impacted are below the high school level, but it does impact everybody in town. It impacts our taxes. It impacts future schools availability to other children, and just want to make sure everybody takes a chance to get educated on that. That's it. Thanks, TJ.
Great, Kyler. Thank you for the updates. And again, that February 15th reminder is useful, as well as the information that's available on the website. There's certainly a lot of information. So now we have Jennifer Aguzzi, who is our World Language Program Coordinator, who is going to talk about a really exciting opportunity that's new this year for Daniel Hand and will continue beyond this year, called the Seal of Biliteracy. I put a pretty extensive blurb in my last couple of weekly messages. To be fair, Jen wrote the blurb, I just copy and pasted it. She's going to elaborate on that information and certainly be available for any questions people have, either in person right now, or you can contact her after today's presentation. Time is of importance, as February 4th, this upcoming Friday, is the deadline to register for this exciting opportunity. So Jennifer Aguzzi, it's your time to speak about something I think is really exciting for our students.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me this morning. I also want to introduce my colleague, John Garcia, who implemented the Seal of Biliteracy in the last district he worked in, and he's been really instrumental in helping me to plan everything. So the Connecticut Seal of Biliteracy is literally a sticker that goes onto the diploma, and it's also indicated on transcripts, and it just certifies that a student has reached at least intermediate proficiency in 2 languages. So for the English component, all they have to do is take their English classes and get all the credits required for graduation. And then for a second language, this is tested using a proficiency test. And there's a lot of different paths to it. There's different tests that work depending on the language. The Seal of Biliteracy is, just exploding nationwide. There are so many benefits of being able to say, hey, I'm biliterate, or in some cases for some of our students, triliterate, or even we have students who are testing languages. It can tell employers that, something that you can put on a resume and say, hey, I can work with people who speak multiple languages. It's a way to certify to universities that you've reached a certain level of proficiency in a second language. And also, more importantly, prepares our students for our global community benefit in terms of travel, also benefit for people who might a second language in their careers. And also, we think that it has the potential to strengthen intergroup relationships.
So right now we're looking for students to register. We have a handful of students that are currently registered. We're looking for heritage speakers where their primary language is that target language that they'll be testing in, where they read or write or speak at home. And it's open to juniors and seniors, students right now who have taken or are on their 4th or 5th year of a language. We want them to participate as well so they can earn it for their senior year. Now, some seniors this year who already taken the AP exam last year have already earned that proficiency level and will get the seal by literacy at graduation. And so right now, some juniors that are registered for the AP exam, they don't need to take the seal by literacy or register for it because the AP exam the results will carry over for the following year for their graduation. Seniors who are registered currently this year for the AP exam, we do want them to register because we'll get the test results quicker and faster for them to get it on their diploma this year. Now, Jen talked about the benefits. As far as logistics go, we're waiting for more students to register. So by Friday, we'll have a lot more information on how we'll deploy the testing, but we're looking at March during the school day. But we'll put more information out depending on how many students, what types of tests we need to order. And there's really no risk for the student because if you're a junior and you don't end up meeting that proficiency level, you can always test again the following year, so your senior year, for you to get it for graduation. There is no cost to families at all. So the reward is essentially monumental. It could be a great opportunity for our students to have that seal of biliteracy where they can put it on their applications or their transcripts for future careers.
Okay, and that's it. Are there any questions? I cannot see everyone, so if you do have a question, just shout it out. You don't need to raise your hand or wait to be called on.
Jen, is this something that the teachers are recommending to kids, or if they don't get a teacher recommendation, they shouldn't be testing for it?
So students who are in a world language class right now, the teachers are promoting it. And one of my classes, for example, is Bridge, right? Meets in the fall and the spring. So I put something out on Google Classroom, but really any student who has reached that certain level of classes, we really encourage them to register regardless of, the teachers are recommending everybody to take this. And also there's a lot of students in the building who speak a language at home that they're not taking classes at all. And those students as well are recommended to take it.
Jen, could you unshare your screen to see if we have any hands that went up?
I probably can. Yep. Okay, and I'm also going to put, as TJ mentioned, the link for registration will come in the Friday message, or the chat's disabled. I was gonna say I can throw a link up in the chat, but that's okay. It will come in the e-notify on Friday, and it's come for the past 2 weeks as well.
So Jen, I just enabled the chat, so feel free if you want to add that information.
Sure. Okay, it's literally a 2-question registration. It's just the student's grade, name, and language. Thank you.
Great opportunity. Again, if you're looking for that information, it was in my last 2 messages on Friday. I'll include it one more time on this Friday, as well as that's the deadline. And we have a good number of students so far. We hope some more actually register. Again, no risk at all and no cost. We think it's a really exciting opportunity, and our world language teachers are really encouraging students to consider this. And again, I think, again, a great opportunity. So Mr. Garcia, Mrs. Aguzzi, thanks for your time. Certainly appreciate that information. If anyone who is on this Zoom right now has questions, you can reach out to Mr. Garcia or Mrs. Aguzzi privately as well. Again, I think it's a really neat opportunity. All right, our next agenda item, Night in Hand, for a class of 2022. Last year, Kyler, you could probably talk about the efforts to have Night at Hand a little different because of COVID. It was absolutely outstanding, but one of our goals this year, and it's a lofty goal, is to go back to the traditional Night at Hand. And we have Lisa Rana and Beth O'Keefe, who are going to talk about, the preliminary planning for this huge event. I have to say, I'll call it a huge event, and I really appreciate their willingness to take this on. And I'll say before they say, we are going to need a lot of volunteers if there's any chance we can make this work. So please consider, you don't have to be a parent of a student who's currently a senior. It probably would be better if you were not, so you didn't have to deal with the end of the year things as well as Night at Hand. But I'm going to turn it over to Beth and to Lisa, and thank you for joining us today.
Good morning. My name's Beth O'Keefe. Lisa Rana and I are really excited to be co-chairing this event this year. My twins are graduating, so I'm really excited to see Night in Hand go back to its original, its original form as an overnight. We have some really great plans in motion, but as TJ said, we do need a lot of volunteers. We are committed at this point to have it the night of graduation of June 14th. Registration has gone out by mail to the seniors, so hopefully you received it, and you will receive a digital copy too for registration at some point, hopefully at the end of this week. We are in desperate need of volunteers. Our registration form went out with a Sign Up Genius that gives opportunities across the classes from freshman to senior to help us out logistically with design, and probably more importantly, with the setup and with the breakdown. We do realize it's hard to plan for the future, but if you could in your calendars, block off June 10th through June 15th, think about, where you're going to be and what kind of help you can give us. Right now, Mother Nature being as kind as she is, June 13th and June 14th are half days, so they will be underclassmen exam days. So we are committed to moving in on those days around the underclassmen and setting this up. It is just a different kind of time constraint for us. We used to, the timeframes obviously used to be larger. So we really will need all hands on deck to help us set this up to achieve that goal. And the same token, as it goes up, it needs to come down so that on the 15th, when the event is over, the school can be, safe and usable for the underclassmen who will still be taking exams. So the one thing about a lot of these events is that, sometimes we feel really intimidated by them because they seem really larger than we are. But please do not think that about Night in Hand. It is an event that everybody can participate in, one step at a time. The Sign Up Genius, you'll see, will go out to all the classes. There are pieces that people can participate in, even if it's just one step at a time. Kind of get a taste for it, come down, help us build, help us paint. Maybe, you'll see that our biggest fundraiser is the auction this year. It's going to be April 8th. Friday, April 8th at Camp Laurelwood. Maybe you can help contribute to that. But we do need everybody to try to kick in. And especially too, the big plea too is don't wait as a freshman parent until your kids are seniors. Try to find your way in, because everybody can contribute to this in some way. And, we'd like to see the senior parents help us, but get to enjoy graduation with the underclassmen kind of picking up the slack as it goes along. But we really are excited about it. We really do have some great ideas. We really do think it will be successful, and we're really hoping to create a lot of energy in the community, to help us. You are gonna see on the e-notifies that go out weekly that we have created Facebook pages for all the classes, 22, 23, 24. In the class of 2025, we are going to post opportunities for all of those classes to help us. What we really need is for people to join the Facebook page. There's a Night in Hand Facebook page, but this is the best way for us to try to reach out to you, to try to, to get you involved, and so that you can see the opportunities that do exist. The Daniel Hand webpage does have a Night in Hand site too. So like the forms, the registration, the links to the Sign of Genius are all like very user friendly. They're all out there. So, again, too, it is really about committing to this. It is about becoming part of this. It does take a lot of hours. It does take a lot of volunteers, but the end result is this is a safe, fun, substance-free celebration for these seniors, and to do it on graduation night is the most meaningful, because it is the night that we really do want to keep these kids safe. And it does take the whole community to do this, so we really do need your help and your participation. We're open to ideas, we're open to opportunities. Please reach out with anything that you have to to help us make this night successful. And again, too, we are, really excited about doing this, so.
Right, and Beth, if I can just add, it's Lisa. As parents start to pick up any of the volunteer opportunities, we ask that you be flexible. So this is a parent-sponsored event. So again, when folks volunteer, although they might not get exactly what they think they signed up for, just remain flexible. As Beth said, we need all hands on deck to make this successful. So everything's kicked off. All the notifications have gone out. All the links will go out next week. So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Beth. Does anyone have any questions about Night at Hand for Lisa and Beth? I assure you they have all the answers. Let me just mention a couple of things just worth noting. If we don't have enough volunteers, because this is not a school event, as Beth and Lisa mentioned, this is a parent event, because at that time, they're no longer Daniel Hand students because they graduated. So it is not a school event. It's just at Daniel Hand. The event cannot run. So I'm just being really honest. We usually have dozens and dozens of parents who volunteer. I know the impact of COVID-19 has really kept people out of our schools, but we're going to need a commitment, because we'd like to have this event on the evening of graduation. One of the biggest challenges this year, I'm not sure people are aware of this or realize, the Board of Ed was allowed to, statewide Board of Ed gave permission for districts to confirm the graduation date that does not move even if there's school cancellations. So our class of 22 graduation is Tuesday, June 14th, if there's good weather. If there's not good weather, it's Wednesday, June 15th. If there's not good weather on Wednesday, I'm not sure what we'll do, but that's so far never happened. With that, we will have grades 9, 10, and 11 in the building while we're doing this, which we've never done before. So this is a huge lift. I think we can do it. We met on Friday or Thursday afternoon last week to reassure the people who are organizing this that we think we can do it, but this will be a little different challenge. I still think it's very possible. So if you're interested in volunteering, that would be excellent. And we're hoping we can make this happen on the night of graduation, just because of the importance of giving our students that opportunity to be safe and have a really exciting experience. There's great memories from Night in Hand, over the years, and we're excited to be trying to get back to normal. Again, a little different with the fact that graduation has already been a confirmed date. So that was just a little extra information I thought was important to share. Kyler, you want to jump in with anything? Feel free.
Yeah, I just want to add one thing, TJ, thank you, is that this scheduling conflict is an issue for this year, but it could also be an issue going forward. So I really urge the underclass parents to get involved this year so that they have some knowledge of how we need to work to make the installation of Night in Hand work around the constraints of other students being in the building. Hopefully they stay at half day, but they could also actually, undergrads could be there full days if we get a lot more snow. So to just reiterate what Beth, Lisa, and TJ have said, please mark those days out in your calendar, because I hear every year, it's a Tuesday, I have to work. Well, everybody has to work, or most people have to work. So if that's the case, Night in Hand actually can't go on if everybody's just going to take that option and not contribute. So please step up and step up early. Thanks.
Thanks, Kyler. Really appreciate it. Again, there's also a email contact information on the end of my Friday messages that came from a suggestion from these meetings. So if you want to reach out a little more privately via email with any questions or recommendations or suggestions, please feel free to do so. I'm excited to have this opportunity for our seniors. And if you're wondering, class of 22, we're almost finished confirming all of the end of the year dates and events. So we'll be sending out a separate message to parents and guardians and the students of the class of 22 in the very near future. So you can mark your calendars, because there's a lot of fun things and exciting opportunities and events that happen for seniors, especially late May and early June. All right, so Kyler, Lisa, Beth, thank you very much. Very informative. And we are going to switch gears now. Something we started to do a little more of this year is highlighting some of our clubs that we offer at hand. We have over 50 active clubs. We used to have closer to 100. We're getting back, on track, because, we're more typical school as opposed to last year with COVID impacting after school activities. So we're randomly selecting clubs every month. So we're trying to highlight as many as possible. I'm going to turn the Zoom over to Mr. Bodner and then Mrs. Witcher, who are going to introduce a few clubs, their advisors, and then we're going to have some students talk about what their clubs offer. So Mr. Bodner, I believe you're first.
Thank you, Mr. Salutary, and good morning, everyone. Our first club that we are going to highlight today is our debate club. The advisor of the debate club is Mr. Everett Rutan. He is a Madison resident with a wealth of experience in debate and is actually, I believe, the head of the States Association for debate. He will be joined by junior Matthew Zhu. Matthew has been a member of debate since his freshman year. And at this time, I know both of them are in our meeting. If they would like to join us and share information with you about how your children can get involved with the debate team.
I'm also the parent. I'm Everett Rutan, the advisor. I'm also the parent of two Daniel Hand graduates, and my daughters greatly appreciated Night in Hand when it was their year. So, really thank all the volunteers who make that happen for the seniors every year. I'm not a teacher at hand. I'm retired after a career in finance, but I was a high school debater, and 25 years ago ran into a teacher I knew who was starting a debate team, and I've been involved ever since. I do run the Connecticut Debate Association, which is the league we operate under in Connecticut. And I also am involved in the greater national debate community. I work with tournaments at Yale, at Vassar, Columbia, and we do a lot of activity nationwide with this. But to find out what we do at hand, let me turn it over to Matt Zhu, and he'll tell you what we've been up to.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Matthew. I'm part of the debate team at hand. So basically what the debate team does is we meet once a week on Wednesdays in the library from 2 to 3. We sort of just work on speaking skills. We sort of focus on learning more about current events. And we really spend a lot of our time focusing on like how to build arguments, how to refute arguments, just basically important skills when speaking or arguing basically in any situation, but we're applying it to like these competition situations. And so what our debate team does is, sorry, that's a bell. We're part of the Connecticut Debate Association. And so this is regulated by the Connecticut Association of Schools, which also regulates things like sports or, other extracurriculars like robotics. Daniel Hand has been competing in this organization for 20 years, probably more. And every month, basically, we hold an online tournament as of now, but as COVID sort of resolves itself, we're hoping to move more in person. And in these tournaments, we sort of have debates with other schools and other students. And if you do well in these debates, you can even move on to the state championship. I've qualified, and so has another novice team who just started this year. And so, in these competitions, you have basically you sort of talk about and you argue and you learn more about like some resolution or some current topic, and you debate both sides. And so it really gives you this perspective on a lot of modern issues that's sort of going on. And outside of these competitions that are sort of organized by the Connecticut Debate Association, our debate team also participates in other opportunities, such as Yale hosts a debate called Yale Osterweiss, where it's more difficult, a little bit more competitive, but you also definitely learn more and you get to be introduced to all these students. In fact, right now, because a lot of things are online, I've been debating against kids that come from California, so it's definitely been like a good opportunity to learn more and to really experience a lot of different people from different places. And so I joined debate because I think it's a really way to engage with current issues. I've learned so much more about things that I otherwise would have been like sort of discouraged from pursuing, things like, I don't know, like debating about contact tracing, or debating about, like whether or not how college admissions should work. Like these are sort of issues that are super complex, and, you don't really in your free time go, I want to learn more about these things. But, debate sort of provides you an orderly way to sort of connect and engage with these very, very difficult and complex issues and really talk to other people about it as well. And so again, we meet in the library from 2 to 3 on Wednesdays, and that's all I have to say. So if there are any questions, I can take them.
Most people focus on debate to think that you learn to speak well, and you certainly do. But one of the things you learn that sort of slips in surreptitiously is you learn to listen carefully. And that, as I look back on my career, was the thing that was the most useful from debate, because you win most arguments not by presenting yourself, but by listening carefully to what the opponent says and using it against them. So again, to echo Matt, if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. If not, we'd love to have more members.
Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. Thank you again, Mr. Rutan and Matthew, for your presentation and for the information that you shared. Parents, I would certainly encourage you to encourage your students to perhaps look into the debate club and consider joining it, as obviously these are lifelong skills that will benefit them the rest of their lives. I also, before handing things over to Mrs. Witcher, our assistant principal, also just want to remind everyone that on our website, we shared this in December. If you go to the students header on the Daniel Hand website, there is a club tab that you can click on that lists all of our clubs, including this one, and provides information as to what the club is about, what its purpose is, and when the club meets. So I encourage you to look at that. At this time, Mrs. Witcher, I know that you were going to introduce a few clubs.
Thanks, Mr. Bodnar. So the next club that we have is the Children's Charity Club, and the advisor for this club is Miss Gabby Butcher. Gabby, yes, she's here with us today. And the Children's Charity Club basically is what the name suggests. They hold a bunch of fundraisers to raise money for various charities, Make-A-Wish and Habitat for Humanity. So she is here and she's going to talk a little bit more about how to get involved with her club. Gabby?
I guess.
Okay, sorry, this is really poor timing because the announcements are going off right now. But I'll do my best and hopefully you can hear me. I also had to sprint into Jenna Guzzi's room because I have a class in my room right now. So sorry for the hecticness. All right, so I run Children's Charity Club. And when I say I run it, it's really the students do everything and they just meet in my room. And then whenever we have events, I will like chaperone it. So in the past, we've done a few things. I hope they can hear me. In the past, we've done, we've had Cocoa for Kids, which is essentially we made hot chocolate and we went to the surf club. And when kids had like soccer games, we sold hot chocolate to raise money for that. And the girls ended up donating it to the Children's Hospital. And then we have done candygrams for Valentine's Day, which they're planning on doing again this year. This is the 4th year of Children's Charity Club. So for 2 years, we haven't really been able to do much because of COVID. So those 2 things that I just mentioned were done during the 1st year. And then this year they have a ton of plans that they want to do. They're going to do candygrams again for Valentine's Day. So that will start soon. And then they have 2 things that they are trying to get organized right now. And the first is they want to do a supply drive where they get donations like things like diapers and other supplies like that. And then they'll donate it to the Hartford Children's Hospital. And then they are really interested in starting pen pals with the Hartford Children's Hospital too. And I think we have one of the girls' moms works at the hospital. So that's like where their connection lies. But yeah, so it's all student run. The girls, it's this year, it's all girls. We're trying to get some guys to join too, but they are doing a lot to like get the names more spread as it is a newer club and we weren't able to do things the past 2 years. And their whole focus is to advocate for youth through fundraising and charity work. So that is the Children's Charity Club.
Gabby, do you just want to say when and where you meet?
Yes, so we meet in my classroom and we meet, my classroom 240, and we meet the first Monday of every month. And we actually didn't meet all of trimester 1. We were just trying to get like underway with COVID and everything and sports. So they just started meeting again. So the first Monday of every month.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the Children's Charity Club? Okay, so the next club that we have is She's the First. The advisor for this club is Miss Jenna Guzzi. She's the First is a national nonprofit organization, and it's basically dedicated to raise awareness for equal access to education, to support women in developing countries who are going to be the first person in their family to graduate from high school. So that's hence the name, She's the First. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Aguzzi, and I believe she has some students with her as well.
Okay, I'd like to introduce my co-presidents, Katie Biner and Sophie Burt. Are you vice president officially? I'm not sure. Co-presidents. And we'd like to tell you about, or the girls are going to tell you about an upcoming fundraiser. So I'm going to share a screen again because it's my favorite thing to do.
Okay, so basically our idea for the date is going to be April 30th. We want to plan a student market and community tag sales. So basically the idea is that we're going to rent out the parking spaces in the parking lot to any members of the community, whether that's a food truck, any type of club or musician or person who just wants to sell their stuff. And we're going to take the money and donate it to She's the First, and She's the First supports women's access to education in underdeveloped countries.
And we're also partnering with Daniel Hand French Club on this project, which part of their proceeds are going to the Haitian Education and Leadership Program. So the whole community market will support access to education in the developing world. You might recognize this fundraising idea. I know that our grade student council proposed it before COVID, but ended up sort of giving the idea to us because it wasn't able to happen that year during COVID. So we have a form for registration in this that still has their old details. But basically our idea is that, Yes, these are the correct event details. So we're going to charge $25 for a single space and 40 for a double space. And that is basically where we're getting our proceeds from the event that will then go to the Global She's the First organization. And our hope is that different community members will either do sort of tag sales or different student groups can fundraise for their groups at this event as well. And then for She's the First itself, we meet on Mondays at 2 o'clock in Mrs. Aguzzi's room.
Which is room 248.
248. And yeah, we've been focusing this year on this event. And then we also, at the beginning of the year, did a snowflake raffle where all the proceeds also went to the global organization of She's the First. And we collected gift cards from local businesses and raffled them off at different sporting events and lunch waves.
Any questions?
Or suggestions for
Yes.
the event as well.
So this website is not live yet, but once we finalize everything and it gets a little bit closer, we will ask Mr. Salutary to help us get the word out through some e-notifies. And also we'll be contacting some, other local sources of marketing. Okay, so we figure during April vacation, you can all clean out your houses and come have a giant tag sale. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Aguzzi. Thank you to the students. I'm just going to put into the chat, I know Mr. Bodnar said it at the beginning when he was speaking, but I'm going to put the link to the club page on the website. As Mr. Salutary said, we are featuring club. Sorry, can you hear me now? So you don't have to wait for a club to be presented for your student to get involved. So if there's something on that site that you think might be of interest to your student, I would just encourage them to show up and to get involved. And as always, we say if there's something there that they don't see that they were hoping they saw, encourage them to start a club, because we definitely have students start clubs all of the time. And that's what makes our offerings so rich and diverse. I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Salutary.
Thank you, Mrs. Witcher. And again, thank you to our club advisors as well as our students presenting. Lots of great things happen at hand, even after school, really exciting. So hopefully students, can be encouraged to get involved and check that link out, because there are a lot of clubs. And like Mrs. Witcher highlighted, students start clubs regularly. It's a pretty simple process and it's pretty exciting as well. So on the same theme of clubs, we're going to transition now, and Melissa Boletto, who is with Madison Youth and Family Services, deeply involved at Daniel Hand High School. They do great work, definitely part of our school, is going to discuss 3 different clubs. Really, some students are here to discuss 3 different clubs. And then she is going to encourage some participation at a Thursday evening Zoom event, which I hope a lot of you will be able to attend. That, hopefully there's some questions as well. And I'm going to turn it over to Melissa. So Melissa, thanks for joining us and thanks for your time.
And thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Melissa. I work at Madison Youth and Family Services. I've been there for about 17 years. I do have 2 boys at the high school. I have a senior and a sophomore. But so for today, I have 4 students here to talk about 3 of our groups that we're currently running after school. In addition to the 3 groups that we're going to be talking about this morning, we do offer several groups actually that thankfully we have been able to be at the school and running on a weekly basis. I'm going to start with Katie Beiner and Sydney to talk about Girls United.
Hi.
Hi,
So I already talked. I'm Katie, but
I'm Sydney.
and we're co-presidents of Girls United with Melissa, run through Madison Family Services. We meet on Thursdays in the library classroom at 2 every week. And we basically focus on fostering a supportive environment for girls in our hand community, and then through outreach in our further community, try to sort of bring that attitude and tackle issues that disproportionately affect women
And this year, we've specifically been focusing on sexual violence in our community because unanimously, that was sort of what we all decided was very pertinent at the moment. And we are in the process of, hold on, let me see if I can share my screen. Okay, so right now we are in the process of planning this event called Shining a Light on Sexual Violence that is going to happen on April 3rd. And we are planning to address sexual violence within our community and establish awareness through presentations by an organization called Jane Doe No More. They have a survivor outreach program where basically survivors come and speak on any number of topics to educate communities on what they can do to better support victims and sort of mitigate the effects of rape culture. And these are some details about the event, but basically we'll be selling luminaries, and all proceeds will go to care packages for victims of sexual violence in local emergency rooms and hospitals.
And we also promote a message of empowering women in the local community and in the hand community, as Katie said before. But in the past, we've done a lot of work with messages like girls supporting girls, women empowering women, and a few of the projects we've done over the past 4 years of Katie and I being in this club include mentorship programs with 8th graders and 7th graders at Polson Middle School. We've done after school programs or even giving advice to younger girls about the transition to high school and even offering like a mentor mentee kind of situation. We did that last year with Peg Butler, who's also a part of Madison Youth and Family Services. And we've done a lot with in the town with supporting younger girls with the Madison Arts Barn, Girl Power Camps, and we've been able to spread our message of empowering girls and women to believe in themselves and always have confidence as well. So we kind of focus on like 2 different things, like promoting that message in our community and then also doing outreach and service like this event we're planning for April 3rd. And yeah, we've really grown our club a lot in the past year. We started out on the smaller side when we were freshmen, but we've grown to be almost like 30 members now. So it's been great.
Yeah. If anybody has any questions, or Melissa, if you have anything.
Do you guys want to talk about the event that we're doing at the school on Friday?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so the event on Friday is going to be 2 assemblies. The first one is an underclassmen assembly, and then the second one is an upperclassmen assembly. I believe it's periods 1 and 2, Melissa, correct?
Yes.
And basically, it will also be the organization Jane Doe No More. We're trying to sort of get that message and those survivors in to talk to as many community members as we can. And the speakers on Friday are going to specifically address rape culture and how our everyday actions contribute to victim blaming, and how we can be aware of our actions, big and small, and make sure that we're all contributing to a positive community environment. And they're also talking about bystander intervention and how students can intervene when there is a situation of sexual violence going on, or who they can reach out to if they need help in doing so.
This event, or not even the event, but the assemblies are really crucial for just the kind of culture we've all been experiencing recently, and especially with teens. It's important to get this message out while we're all living it and experiencing it every day and seeing, the repercussions and consequences all around us. And we have high hopes for how students are going to receive this. And yeah, it's also a way to promote our event on April 3rd. So we can get the message out there now so people know about this event happening in April, and, we'll be excited to come and excited to see what it's all about.
And another thing I want to add on that is that, the girls and Girls United don't look at this as a female issue. It's more of a cultural issue. So I don't want people to think that it's all the girls blaming boys, because that's not the way that we're looking at this. We're looking at this as more a community and cultural thing that needs to be addressed. And Katie and Cindy have just been so wonderful the past 4 years. I'm certainly going to miss them when they graduate for sure. So thank you both so much for your hard work on all of this. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And so our next two groups, I'm going to have Sab and Bridget talk about. They're going to talk about GASP and roots. So girls, you guys do you want to start with roots?
Yeah, so thanks for having us. I'm Sab. This is Bridget. And we just wanted to talk about roots. So basically, we meet every Tuesday, 2:05 p.m. to 2:45 p.m. in the peer advocate room in the library. And basically what we do is we create like these projects with like the goal of like making a more inclusive and like comfortable like school community for like all of our peers. We work together like with like other like Madison youth and family service groups too, and our members are like selected like chosen from like other MYFS groups like GASP and Girls United. And right now we're working on trying to work with the English and maybe even social studies department to create like a gender studies curriculum, because we saw that like there was a lack in talking about people of all genders experiences. So we want to have like a curriculum or like some sort of class or course where we examine these like the texts of like people of all genders experiences. And then another project that we're working on, which is kind of like a more minor one, is trying to get the funding for more comfortable seats and like just like furniture in classrooms, so that like students will have like less anxiety and be more comfortable in the classroom. So that's what Roots is. And what's GASP?
Yeah, so again, I'm Bridget. I use she, her pronouns. GASP is a club that we've had for quite a
Bridget, can you
while
get a
now.
little closer to the mic or speak a little bit louder, please? Sorry to interrupt you. We just can't hear you as well.
It's okay. So yeah, GASP
you.
is a club that we've had for about a few years now, and it's a club that allows inclusivity and diversity. Queer members, queer students, as well as allies come to the club on Fridays in room 333 and just discuss about LGBTQIA plus topics, as well as anything that they're struggling with, like with their sexual identity, gender identity, or something that was just troubling them in their school day. It's really just a place that allows people to express themselves openly and comfortably with the entire student community. And one project that we're really working on and hoping to be implemented is allowing for gender neutral bathrooms. Right now, we only have 3, and they're really not accessible. It's very difficult for non-binary and gender fluid students, as well as anyone who wants to use the gender neutral bathroom to do so, because they're scattered throughout the school, mostly in the second building. So we're hoping to implement it into the main building on the second floor. And we have been trying to create a proposal and talking with the administration to doing so.
Great, thank you guys so much. Do you guys have any questions on either of these, the 3 groups that we mentioned? Any questions?
Melissa, the April 3rd event, that's for the whole community, am I correct?
Oh, yes, yeah,
So we can
that's,
promote that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we can promote that within our own groups of people? Friends?
Yes, and once they did share the flyer. I just have to finalize all that at my office, and I will make sure that I'll send that to you, and I'll have that available for people to share. And so our hope is really just to sell those luminaries as well, and we're going to light up the green with all of that. And we'll have speakers, student speakers, speakers from Jane Doe No More. It'll be a really, I think, a really great night to bring awareness for sure. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is this Thursday night, Madison Youth and Family Services, along with a panel of student leaders. Some of those were ones that were speaking this morning. to talk about the results of our student survey data that was taken back in October of 2021. So we're calling this the state of our youth. It's really the voices of our youth to talk about trends, needs, to answer any questions that the community would have about the results of the survey that we gathered. So if it is free, it's an online event, you can register. Registration is required. You can find that registration form on the Town of Madison, the town website, and the Madison Youth and Family Services website. So it's going to be really informative, and it's really, really great to hear from the voices of the students and how they're feeling about these results and what they would like to see moving forward.
Great, Melissa. And I'll say from experience, it takes less than a minute to register for the Thursday evening event. So we hope, the convenience of Zoom, I do hope a lot of people attend. We did see the data when Catherine Barden came to our PTO meeting, but to add students into the conversation, I think is a really positive touch, and you'll get a really honest response from our students for sure. So if you're available at 6:30 Thursday evening, please consider registering. I think obviously a lot of great work going on, and we're trying to address some topics that could be a little bit uncomfortable, but I always remind students we have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. The one mention I have after I just say thank you, Melissa, for all the great work you and Madison Youth and Family Services do. I'll be sending a short message tomorrow afternoon about the presentations on Friday, just so parents, guardians, and obviously our student body have that information. I've clicked on the weather 30 times ever since we confirmed this date, and it looks like we're going to be good to go. If something happens with weather, Melissa, you and I will talk and we'll figure out a reschedule. But it should be a powerful and certainly meaningful event for our entire school community Friday morning. Again, I'm almost finished with the message. I'll make sure that goes out tomorrow afternoon, and it will go to parents, guardians, and students. I just wanted to thank everyone for attending. Melissa, do you have anything else you wanted to share?
No, just thank you again for having us and letting the students speak. It's always more powerful when the kids speak instead of us. So thank you.
Agreed. They do an excellent job. I'm always impressed every time they present. And one of these days will be in person, but the Zoom meetings, we seem to get a lot more attendance. So this might be something we consider offering as well. So again, this PTO meeting has been recorded. We'll have that finalized before Friday. And if you missed any information or need any, information reiterated, you can go back, and hopefully some people who were unable to attend will watch it as well. So I'd again like to thank everyone for attending. Have a great rest of your day and stay healthy out there.
Thank you.